So we're going to make it coffee crunch with Heath bar pieces. Can't be bad. So here's the recipe for coffee crunch. It's in all. Steve's going to shamelessly promote my book and my thumb drives, and that's where you'll find all the recipes. So coffee crunch ice cream we're going to make, because later we'll make cream ice and Steve's going to make Italian ice. So this is ice cream. And here we go. It's 5 quarts. I'm using the Emery 12-quart machine, which is half of the industry standard 24-quart machine. So we'll, instead of using 10 quarts of mix, we're going to use 5.
What is the machine on the left?
The machine on the left is a 12-quart machine, which is the same physical dimensions as the 24. It uses all the 24 components. The only difference is the cylinder is half the length, and so the machine is only slightly less costly than the 24. I keep it in my production line because some of the high-end restaurants like it, but the one that pays to buy is the 24.
And you'll all own a 24, whether it's this week or next year. That's the machine. I've had 3 of them, and it just, your production time, this one is what we all start with, and that'll yield you 1.5, maybe 2 gallons of ice cream per batch. The 20, we won't talk about this because you don't want that. The 24 quart per batch, same time, same everything, will yield you 6 gallons. 6, maybe 7, depending on how many inclusions you add. So 7 gallons, once you're up and running, it's great. When you first start out, the CB350 is great. When you find yourself working too much to make ice cream, well, then you're successful, and you'll just go and buy the 24. The 24 is it's like driving a Rolls Royce. It's just great. Okay, enough promotion. So coffee crunch ice cream, we're going to add 5 quarts of mix. We have 5 ounces of vanilla. Where are we? Okay, and Folgers crystals. This is what I use for all my coffee ice cream. Folgers crystals. It's great. I like Folgers coffee in the morning anyway. Okay, Folgers crystals. We're going to add 4 ounces of Folgers crystals. What the hell was in here? Now, is that 4 ounces of weight or 4 ounces of volume?
Weight. Volume.
Volume? Okay. I don't know.
Oh, thank goodness, because I don't either. We got into this
Yeah,
fight.
it's always confusing.
We got into this fight over the weekend in Jupiter, and I could not explain it. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, it's a confusing thing. Even when you go ask Siri, remember we asked Siri the other day about, and she was confused too. She kept saying, well, I'm not really sure. I don't know. Okay, we'll add 4 ounces of this. Now this is so good that you can dissolve it right in here. You don't have to do the hot water trick. You can. A little hot water is not going to hurt anything. But personally, I throw it in the machine. You know, I'm okay with that. We're also going to add my secret ingredient, which now won't be secret anymore. I found 2 things that I use an awful lot, and it is Ghirardelli chocolate powder. You know Ghirardelli, the chocolate. This is their chocolate powder. I use this, and I use their white chocolate powder. And if you come up to me, I'll tell you where you can get it, and it's great. It's a secret ingredient. You know, you'll say that the ice cream is great. Ghirarde. So what are we going to do? We have all this stuff to add. Anything else? Heath bar pieces. So that's our ice cream. And I got to tell you, not only am I a proponent of buying your stuff in supermarkets and Sam's Club and Walmart for your ice cream, but I also subscribe heavily to keeping it simple. The fewer the ingredients, the better the ice cream. because you don't have all the different things fighting each other for the best flavor. When you have 7 ingredients in an ice cream, you're not going to have a dominant ingredient. So I like to keep everything simple, right? I'm a simple guy. And my class was filled with simple people. I shouldn't. Okay. You know, it works first and then it... Okay, so what are we going to do? What would you do? We have the mix. We have the chocolate powder, which is very fine, by the way. We have the coffee crystals and the vanilla. So would you pre-mix outside? Well, Steve, would you pre-mix? You would. You would mix these things outside.
I would, so that I'm not messing up the machine, because the powder is going to stick in the lip and I'll have to
Fair
get
enough.
that out.
Fair enough. The boss says to do it this way, we'll do it this way. We'll do it in a container. We'll throw this in. We'll throw the coffee in. And let's put a little hot water. Hot water, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Otherwise, you just got powder floating.
You notice how I'm kissing up to you, right?
I'm noticing it. It's getting really
Okay.
distressing. It's so, out
I
of
have an
place.
ulterior motive.
I'm really, yeah, well, he wants a free batch freezer for his new store.
Uh-oh,
I have such a deal for you.
I've been had. All right, we're just going to mix this up. It'll turn to a nice gravy type consistency. See that? And that will make it easier to dissolve everything. Can you all see that? Mike, can you see that?
Yes.
The all omnipotent and powerful Oz.
You're interrupting his cartoon reading,
Oh, sorry.
comic book.
Okay, so there we go. Now what I'm going to do to make it even easier and more blended, anybody? Is this working? What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some mix to it. Basically only 2 things in there, right? The coffee and the chocolate. If you're making anything with coffee and you don't have the Ghirardelli powder, just get some Hershey's cocoa powder. It's not as good, but it'll give that little, yes.
Okay, so when you use the water to premix those couple ingredients, does that affect like ice crystal? Does that form ice crystals in your ice cream?
No. Anytime you hear the word ice crystals, shake your head and let it fall out. Ice crystals don't exist unless you have a dipping cabinet or you leave covers off your ice cream. But the way we do it comes out of the machine in these gallon buckets, put it in the freezer, don't have to worry. And you know, I did use a very little bit.
Instead
Hold
of
it.
water, could you just use the mix? I mean, what would be the difference?
Well, that's what I would do, but I know Steve likes to dissolve sugar and water before he puts it in, coffee and water before he puts it in. I don't. To be really brutally honest, the world's best mixer, you know, you've got KitchenAids, those expensive, the world's best mixer is right here. This thing turns at 234. My class knows more than I do. This turns at 234 revolutions per minute. This thing is knocking the heck out of stuff, so it's blending like that, like that. So even when I have sugar, I just throw it in because it's so fast. It's the best mixing device ever. What was your follow-up?
Is the chocolate that you used sweetened chocolate?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. They make both, but you know how I like my ice cream. In case you don't know how I like my ice cream, I like it bold and sweet. I like the flavor to hit you in the mouth, and I like it sweet. And I'll tell you why I don't turn it on right away as Steve does. And he may be right, You may be right, I may be crazy. All right, so first let's add, let's see. All right. Sure.
The larger one does 234 revolutions per minute, you said?
234.
And the 350?
Same thing.
Oh, okay, cool.
234 is the fastest speed. You can set it slower. If you're making gelato or you're making what there are different speeds, and that's why Steve invented this. I'm a dinosaur. I'm an old-fashioned guy, and I keep things very simple. I do it at 234, and here's Christy now to explain further.
What?
Oh, never mind.
Don't
All right.
throw me under the bus like that.
Are we ready? So we're ready. So the first thing you want to do before you pour anything in is make sure that's down, because we did have an accident in class, right? My fault, but it was only water. Okay, there we go. The mix, as it's known in the industry. Okay, so we have 3 more things to add. We have this stuff, the Heath bar pieces, and the vanilla. So I'm going to start it up. Now, as I said before, Steve puts this on right away. I don't, and I'll tell you why. After we add the ingredients, it'll become apparent, but I'll tell you why. Now, do we want to waste all that? No. What?
No, I was saying I'll turn the air conditioning warmer.
All right, we'll add some vanilla. I still haven't turned it on yet, the freezing part of it. And we'll add about a half a quart of Heath bar pieces. We'll add them to the floor and to the machine. Follow these instructions precisely.
That's okay, the sweeper is here.
Now here's why I haven't turned on the freezing yet. Because no matter how many times I've made something, what do I want to do?
Taste it.
I want to taste it. I want to make sure that it's exactly the way I want it. Because everything affects everything. And some days, things are going to affect the sweetness of it or the coffee flavor. And most importantly, sometimes you don't focus and you forget something. And I'd rather start it 2 minutes later and know that I have to add something. Oh, I forgot the Heath bar pieces, or I forgot this, or whatever. Then throw it out when it's done. And I've thrown out a lot of ice cream. So now that it's thoroughly mixed, oh baby. Now we know we can go full speed ahead. If I wanted to add some, I'm thinking about it too, a little more coffee, because you can't have too much of a good flavor. So I'm thinking about adding a little coffee, and I think we will. We'll add a few spoonfuls, that's all, maybe 2 spoonfuls of coffee. And of course it'll dissolve because we're shooting this thing at 234 revolutions per minute. It's the best mixer in the world. And because these are Folgers crystals, they'll dissolve easily. So we'll add 1 and a little bit more. And if you want the recipe, you'll get it. Oh, 1 second. Okay, yes. This is regular. Why, you can't have regular?
No.
Oh. Okay, that's a good question. You can make it decaf. In my store, glad you brought that up. In my store, you get customers, rarely but often enough, who say, I can't have ice cream. And I say, why? Well, we can't have sugar. Do you have sugar free? I say, no. And then you get people, I'm lactose intolerant. I can't have your ice cream. Do you have ices? And I say, no. So what I did early on, maybe 9 years ago, in order not to let those dollars walk out of the store, I put up a coffee bar, cappuccino, espresso, latte, and we also have tea. It's just a simple machine. We have tea and hot chocolate and iced coffee. So now when somebody comes in, oh, I can't have any sugar. Do you have sugar free? No, why don't you go have a cappuccino? And you can put sweet and low in it or whatever those things are. Well, I can't have the caffeine. Oh, well, we have decaf. We have decaf cappuccino. You can even have a decaf espresso. I'll grind those beans for you myself. And it evolved into getting more dollars. I bought a $750 espresso machine, and after 8 years, we netted $18,000 on it. And that's not a lot compared to what the store's going to make, but you satisfy a need. And people don't leave saying, damn, I couldn't, you know. So now you've satisfied that. And between coffee, regular coffee, decaf coffee, cappuccino, decaf cappuccino, espresso, decaf espresso, hot cocoa, sugar-free hot cocoa, herbal teas, all done at a bar this big, you solve everything. Yes, sir.
Do you do any type of dairy-free ice cream? Is that even
I don't
possible?
make it. No, I don't make dairy.
We're doing it next.
Okay, I don't make in my. It's just me. I don't make dairy free. I don't make sugar free. I don't make lactose free. I make full sweet ice cream. That's what I make. What?
Nothing.
Okay. Yes.
How much chocolate powder did you put in?
How much chocolate powder did I put in? I have that answer right here. You want to write the recipe down, or do you want to pass this around and take a picture of it? Take a picture? Lazy. Okay.
You can buy Jeff's, Markow's
Oh,
ice cream formulas. I use these. They are excellent. If you're just starting out a new business, any knowledge you can find is great, but if you're going to use recipes from Good Housekeeping magazine or Better Homes and Gardens, they don't translate up. You'll be, if you're running my 44-quart machine, you'll be breaking 160 eggs to get egg yolks. The recipes don't work. They're very nice and very cute for making a quart for your family. They don't translate up into an ice cream parlor. These do, and you can get that by reaching Jeff at, it's a very odd spelling.
no, we have some to sell here today.
I have them here today for the class, but for those who are watching this on YouTube, X, the letter X, and then an odd spelling of hippie, so listen carefully. X, Hippee, at AOL. Yeah, there really are people on AOL still. .com. Xhippie at AOL.com. If you didn't get that, you can contact me, Steve Thompson, and I'll read it back to you very slowly. Xhippee at AOL.com. These are good. These are better than good. You can start your ice cream parlor with these and know that you'll be a success.
And I guess I could tell them how much it costs, right?
No,
No, I can't
not
do
on
that?
YouTube.
Okay.
But to the class here, there's a special discount today.
There is.
If you buy one, I will give you the Emery Thompson hearty handshake and a pat on the back.
And we also have a limited number of the book on thumb drive. So at the break, I only have a few. That sounds like a carnival
I
thing.
don't understand thumb drives. I tried putting it into the computer, and it
Did you light up?
very much so. You know, I got to get one of my 19-year-old
That's
IT
right.
people to
That's
do
right.
it.
I'll tell you what. The back, he could do it. He can do it. Oh, you might. No, you're not a computer guy. Okay, so that's everything, and I think this ice cream's going to be pretty good. But we'll see. You'll be the judge of that. It's you know, there's always a segment in your ice cream store. There's a segment of people who gravitate towards things, and there's always a segment that wants coffee ice cream. And there's another segment that loves mint chocolate chip. Other people, oh, I don't like coffee ice cream. I hate mint chocolate chip. And then there's the fruit people, so to speak.
Are we going to sing YMCA?
Wow, you're going to have to cut that, Mike. They'll close us down. But there are segments, and that's why people say, how many flavors should I have in my store? I always had between 30 and 40. Sounds like a lot, but it's not. But this way, just like the coffee bar, people come in and I've got one coffee ice cream. I've got one mint chocolate chip ice cream. I've got maybe 2 fruit ice creams. And then the rest are my, if right behind Steve, you can see Oreo cookies, Milky Way, Heath Bar, Butterfinger, Nestle's Crunch, Snickers, Reese's, and Payday. And I make ice cream out of all of those. And those, because you're going to have a broad range of ages coming into your store, from kids, from infants to kids, whom I love, all the way up to seniors, my kind of people. And the candy ones and the cookie ones work great across the board. Last class, we made ice cream out of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the breakfast cereal, and it was great. It was really great. And kids are going to gravitate right towards Cinnamon Toast Crunch because that's what they have. They know that. Now, the reason you can't just rely on a timer with the machines is because the one thing you need when you're making ice cream, what's the one thing you need? Correct, focus. You must focus on what you're doing. If you're going to make ice cream and be talking to you, no good, it's not going to work, because it has to be pulled within a parameter of maybe a minute and a half between being too loose and too firm. And nobody can tell you that. It depends on, Steve taught me this, it depends on the humidity that day. It really does. It depends on your distractions, everything. If you're getting ready to pull it, you know, I know now how long it's going to take because I've made a few gallons. But if you're going to get a phone call, you know, and it's your friend or your spouse, and you're going to get distracted, and then the ice cream's going to be overdone. What happens when it's overdone? In my mind, it gets chalky or pasty. How would you describe it, Steve?
I think you've got it. That's right. I would say pasty.
Yeah.
Because it's just over-processed.
Now, Steve and I differ. I pull the ice cream sooner. He pulls it later, but we're only talking about under 2 minutes. But if you're distracted, if you suddenly run out of the room, never leave the room when you're making ice cream, but if you run out of the room for something, if somebody's knocking on your door and you go to answer it, you're going to screw it up. And that means that you're going to take however many gallons you made, put it in the sink through a colander, and flush away your money. It's not the end of the world, because you'll have learned a valuable lesson. But if you can learn it before it happens, all the better. Focus, that's the whole thing. Focus on what you're doing.
When you're opening your first store,
Sorry?
When you open your first store,
Yes.
how many flavors do you open with? Suggested.
That's a good question. How many flavors do you open your store with? Hang on, I want to check this. Okay, hold that question because we're about to pull the ice cream. I think 30 seconds will do it. It's so scientific, isn't it? If you pulled it now, it would be fine. If you pulled it in 2 minutes, it would be fine. I just have a preference, that's all. It's how, maybe it's because I like the way it tastes when it's a little looser. You know, it's like when we were kids. Now, how do I know when it's ready? When it holds a peak, when you let some out and it holds the peak, it doesn't go like this, then to me it's ready. So now we're ready to roll.
Jeff, could you show them again? Because what I tell people is if you open that gate and close it quickly, it cuts off like a knife went through it. And
Yes.
yours just did. Could
Yes,
just
you
show
can do
again?
that. Sure. Bingo.
See how that cut? That's ready.
So now just a quirk, I wait till I hear the compressor shut off. There, you hear that? Now I pull the ice cream.
And see how fast that comes out? The whole idea of our machines is to get it made and get it out quickly. And my website is something called the Tater Tot Theorem, and it'll show you about pulling tater tots out of the oven and how you end up burning down your house. You want to get the product out very fast. The other machines on the market our guards are the best designed by my engineers and make it extremely safe. Other people just use plain old bars. It blocks the ice cream, so it takes you 5 minutes to get it out of the machine. The first ice cream is a different weight and consistency than the last. So you want to move quickly. I'll help you there.
Okay, well you
I'll do
spread
that
these
while you-
out
while
and
you
I'll
talk.
scoop, how's that?
All right. Why don't we put it back on camera where they can see us? Is that
Okay.
all right? Let's go over here.
All right.
Jeff was talking about flavors. We get a lot of calls, not a lot of calls, that's the interesting thing. We get a few calls about gelato. Gelato was all the rage in the late 90s in the United States. Everybody was going to Italy and everybody swore that the gelato was the best product on earth. The tiramisu, the fruit of the Bosco, the hazelnut, the pistachio. So that was big for a while all over the world. We're in 171 countries, so I've got a rather larger perspective than most people. What has happened since then, though, people have realized, you know, those are great flavors, but what we really like are the American flavors, the Oreo cookie, the mint chip, the Superman Italian ice, the Cookie Monster. They are loaded with ingredients and they're delicious. And I can show you market data that shows you that Canada, one of my second larger markets, has gone over to all American ice cream. Australia and New Zealand have moved away from gelato and into ice cream. All the Arab states have moved away from gelato into ice cream. Japan is in the process of moving away and into ice cream because there's so much more variety. And quite frankly, you may think you're controlling where you're going to go for ice cream, but if you have kids, they're also controlling it. And I contend, although gelato is great, and if I had a big enough store, I might have 5 flavors of gelato to, like Jeff, eat with the coffee, cater to a market segment. I might acquiesce to that, probably not, but I might think about it. But for the most part, you don't see a
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
34-year-old
7,
mother
8,
coming in.
12.
I didn't mean you're 34. I know you're 32. A 34-year-old mother comes in. She's got her 5-year-old daughter in tow, and the 5-year-old daughter is not tugging on her mother's dress and saying, "Mommy, could I please have a tiramisu?" No, she's saying, "Mommy, I want Superman Italian ice. I want
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
There you go. These kind of flavors, and they're driving the market. You may be paying the bill, but the kids are still driving the market. And that has been a very strong trend for the last 16 years in the ice cream business. Our business grows exponentially every single year. Last year was the COVID virus, and we had the largest year that we've had in 116 years. This year is going to be much bigger than last year. And it's American-style ice cream. It's not gelato. When people call up for
And it's
gelato,
not frozen yogurt,
no, it's not frozen yogurt.
not soft serve.
It's definitely not soft serve. That is just, they killed soft serve. Some of you in the audience might remember Carvel up in New York. That was a high-quality soft ice cream. The manufacturers of the machines then added an air pump and said, well, now we can double the volume. Yeah, it tastes lousy, but you're getting 3 times as much profit out of it. And they made 3 times as much profit, but they lost 90% of their business because it was a junk product. And you build, Jeff's premise of business is quite simple. Spend what you've got to spend in ingredients to get the very best ice cream, and you can charge whatever you want, and the people will be lined up out the door. And it's really that simple, isn't it? I mean,
It is simple,
he
that's
looks pretty commonplace for a billionaire. I mean, it's amazing. What's that?
That's for
Me?
you.
Thank you. Oh, that's good.
You're welcome.
And the coffee's a great flavor. Really
If you're a coffee
Which
flavor
one, which
guy.
one?
Yeah. I love it. Christy, I'm going to go get the dairy-free mix. I'll be right back.
It's good with the chocolate.
Yeah, you don't really taste it, but it smooths everything out. Because coffee is a little bit bitter. I drink black coffee, and it's not smooth. You know, I mean, it's smooth, but there's a little bit of an edge to it. The chocolate and the ice cream takes the edge out.
Is that it?
Yeah, I'm actually, hang on. Yeah, you're going to give this to the guys, right, and stuff?
Well, oh, Mike.
Mike.
How long does it take to clean up?
To clean up?
Clean up between each batch.
Oh, it's a simple rinse, 30 seconds.
I didn't try it. What did you make?
Here, try one.
I just
It's
want to bite.
Coffee Krunch. It's coffee with Heath bar pieces in it.
That's good.
That's good.
About ready to do this?
Yep.
Okay.
You didn't add any pieces of beef bar on there as it was coming out.
What?
I said you didn't add any pieces of
No,
beef
I don't.
bar.
I don't do that.
Okay.
You can do that, but I don't do it. I throw everything in the machine. I like a blend, you know. I like everybody to be friends in there. When you add it afterwards, you're putting strangers with your old friends, you know.